Hi everyone. Hey guys, welcome to the session. So क्या हाल चाल है everybody? Akash Verma, Ayushi Ranjan and all the others who are there. Are you all very worried about CAT result or about the upcoming XAT test? I can see very few people have turned up for this. So what is it like? I mean, you guys are not serious about your WAT, or maybe you guys know you already know very well how to write a WAT. I mean, how to sail through in the WAT. क्या माजरा है बताओ सूरज. Okay, chalo. Irrespective of everything, we are going to do this, and I'm going to give you some very important and crisp insight into this thing called VAT, which is your filter. So, this is a process by which they actually separate the grain from the chaff. There are so many people who want to appear for the interview. अब सबको उन्होंने तो on board ले लेना है नहीं. So they have things like VAT or in some cases GD or group PI. है ना? In my last session, I mentioned these things. And then after VAT, you are ready to face the interviewers. You are exciting for the result, nahi Akash. You are excited for your result. Yes, you will get 98 plus. Ha Atishay, I know. First result and then VAT. I understand your concern. But chalo, theek hai. Let's just start off with like a little bit of gyan. Okay. So, as I said earlier, I'm going to keep it very crisp, short, ekdam to the point, just so that you understand only the important things that are related to VAT. Baki to phir uske baad, if you're like really serious about improving your skills in VAT and PI, you need to join us for the course. And in that, we'll be giving you detailed and structured practice. All right. तो भाई ये VAT क्या है? This is like, you are tested for the way your thoughts present themselves on paper. You are tested for what goes on in your mind, the jumbled mass of thoughts. कैसे आप stream करके निकालते हो? Can you write on a particular topic without actually getting scared? Or can you, some people, what do? They just kind of pour out data, tons and tons of data. तो इतना imbalance सा नहीं होना चाहिए, ठीक है? So क्या होना चाहिए? That is exactly what we are going to discuss, ठीक है? So how to pass this filter called VAT? First things first, what is VAT? है ना? Written ability test. It's a short timed essay about 150 or 200, 300 is tarah ke words, depends on the institute. And what is the time that you get? 15 to 30 minutes. मतलब ऐसा होता है कि कुछ institutes में 15 है, कुछ में 20 है, कुछ में 30 है. And the topics can be abstract, issue based, or opinion driven. What do I mean by these? Abstract is something that can be connected with anything. Like I'll give you an example. An early bird catches the worm. Okay, this is connected with a proverb. But it is an abstract topic because you can actually latch it onto anything. It can be about a sports person who won laurels because of his consistency as a morning person. You can connect it with a country that actually was very fast in taking an initiative. You can connect it with maybe some sultan from the past and how he annexed certain states. Okay, but points उस पे ज़्यादा मिलते हैं when you connect it with something that is there at present. Okay, so abstract can be red versus blue, abstract can be doors are open, abstract can be, as I said, connect it with a proverb. So सब में आपको कोई ना कोई modern day relevant चीज से connect करना पड़ेगा. अब जैसे मान लो मैं abstract में आपको एक देती हूँ, जैसे painting yourself in a corner. Maybe you can start writing on that and connect it with the indigo crisis that happened. okay, and then how they tried to come out of it. So it can be simply anything, it depends on what angle you give it. Issue based क्या होता है? Issue based is some societal issues that are going on. It can be gender discrimination at workplace, it can be racism, it can be LGBTQ not getting the recognition, whatever is there on your Overton window, that can be taken as a societal issue. And you have to discuss on that. Or opinion driven topic, they can give you a proper relevant topic from the modern era. And you would be required to give your opinion, give your perspective, like, for it, against it, and उसमें लिख के आएगा. That give your perspective in about 200 words. Then you cannot just quote facts and submit your paper. That is why we always suggest read editorials. Editorials, opinion pages, columns, इसमें क्या होता है? इसमें बेसिकली जो हो रहा है आपके चारों तरफ वही चीज है, बट विथ एन एंगल, विथ अ पर्सपेक्टिव. ऑलराइट, ठीक है, चलो आगे बढ़ते हैं. व्हाट डज इट इवैल्यूएट? इट इवैल्यूएट्स योर क्लैरिटी ऑफ थॉट. आपको वो पॉइंट पता तो है. लेट्स गो बैक टू दैट इंडिगो वाला पायलट का जो डर्थ ऑफ पायलट्स हो रहा था एंड द फ्लाइट्स वर गेटिंग कैंसल्ड. देयर वाज कंप्लीट मेहम इन द कंट्री. So you have clarity of thought or not, means you just have data. You know what had happened, but are you able to put them together in a structured manner? Are you able to get a nice introduction in place and then put a nice conclusion in the end, and in between, do you know how to evaluate the strengths and weaknesses, put in a little bit of data, put some nice names that will create an impression? Aisa. Ability to structure your arguments, written communication, crucial for case discussions, reports, leadership roles. Now, there can be two similar profiles. Okay, there can be two people with similar percentiles. 19-20 का फर्क. Still, WAT can act as the filter. And when you're writing WAT, please do not get into complete flowery language. They're not asking you to fill it in with idioms and phrases and like them, flowery jargon, Shakespearean language, art, thou, thee. No. Simple language, to the point. It presents your clarity of thoughts, and at the same time, you have to make an impression with a beautiful introduction and a crisp conclusion. अभी एक बहुत ही golden point है जो मैं आपको दिखाऊंगी आगे एक slide पे. Just be there with me. Okay. Now, what do evaluators value? आप तो समझ गए कि ठीक है, चलो ये चेक किया जाएगा. How do you get those brownie points? ये बताती हूँ अब मैं आपको. Number 1, it's there on the screen, thought clarity. Okay. Logical flow of ideas. Is there a central theme and you're working around that theme, or your thoughts are completely sequestered? एक इधर जा रहा है, अगला आपको याद आया, अच्छा मैं ये भी डाल देता हूँ. Then you suddenly remembered, oh, I have to go back to that point. Then you thought, अच्छा कुछ और याद आ गया. So the points should not be detached. Or, even if they are connected with that central topic, they should not be random thoughts. They have to be in a flow. Passage कोई भी लिखता है author, it has to be in a flow. एक simple example दे रही हूँ मैं आपको. Let's say you're given the topic global warming. Okay, global warming and carbon footprint, individual carbon footprint. Now, you have to write on that, but how would you start? How would you give a nice introduction? Do not start with global warming has two words, global and warming. Global is what? Fala, 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 fala. Warming is what? That is class 2 ka essay. So you have to give a nice introduction, something related to global warming. Maybe you can draw a context. You can set the backdrop. 50 years back, if my ancestors woke up on a nice sunny day, they would not be bothered about inhaling toxic air. They would not think twice before drinking the water, whether it's contaminated or pure. They would not think twice before eating food, whether it's pure or genetically modified. So maybe you can just start this way and do not elongate it too much. Okay, immediately move on to the sensible topic. So what is happening these days? There's a phenomenon called global warming, on which people are divided. There is a school of thought that says it doesn't exist. There is another one that says it does. But no matter how much we try to shrug it off, the monster is there. It's lurking. And then we come to carbon footprint, which is individual impact. The way we contribute individually to this phenomenon called global warming. Then you can explain in 2-3 lines what exactly carbon footprint means, and then move on to the next paragraph in which you can talk about it in detail, maybe with a little amount of data or some relevant examples. Got it? So this is called logical flow. Fine. Then structure. Intro, body, conclusion. I'll be talking about that in detail. Just hang in there. So intro बता दिया मैंने आपको, कुछ भी अच्छा सा intro देना है, but make it very clear, because sometimes the evaluator may just read your intro and conclusion. Nobody has the time to go through the entire essay. So even if your intro and conclusion look very neat, you will be selected. Okay, so intro, the body can have 2 to 3 paragraphs. Okay, so intro, body, and then conclusion. Each paragraph doing one clear job. Let's say your second paragraph talks about advantages. Third paragraph talks about disadvantages, or second paragraph can be historical perspective. Okay? Historically speaking, this was not the case. You can talk that way. Then the third paragraph can be advantages, fourth can be disadvantages, or it can talk about maybe the technical aspects. It can talk about, then the second last paragraph can talk about some recommendations, what we can do as responsible citizens, okay, and then the last paragraph will of course sum it up. Okay, so that's a typical structure. Each paragraph has to have a certain crux, one distinct thing that paragraph should do. Okay, then relevance. Are they answering this topic? Not a memorized template. No unnecessary jargon or name dropping. Unnecessary jargon क्या है अभी बताती हूँ मैं आपको. Unnecessary jargon is, too much of data, too many examples. You should know where to stop. Or let's say you start your essay with a proverb. Okay, then it shouldn't happen that in every 2 or 3 lines you're throwing in a proverb just to kind of make it look very impressive. It will have some different effect. All right, so no unnecessary jargon. No slang language that you can use, okay, or kind of, unnecessary names. Then, balance and maturity. What do I mean by that? Acknowledging multiple perspectives. Now, let's say we are talking about, the political scenario in my country, okay, or is it good to have a bi-party system in the government? Maybe that's the topic. Nobody is bothered about what you are passionate about. The evaluator doesn't want to hear all your points. So balance and maturity usko bolte hain. You acknowledge both the parts, both the sides. You try to look at it from the other angle also and try to put in a few points. Apna point de diya aapne, apna paragraph, and then, however, if I look at it from the other side, I can see that even that school of thought has certain valid points, and then you can go on and explain. This will show you in a nice light to the evaluator. उसको लगेगा हाँ ये बंदा ना थोड़ा balanced है. He has a mature perspective instead of being very cutter about his points. ठीक है? So acknowledge multiple perspectives. If you are talking about a bi-party वाला, maybe you can bring in some examples, some countries का. फला country उसमें ये है, फला country उसमें ये है. This country has been successful. This has not been successful. इस तरह से. Then avoiding extreme or emotional positions. भावनाओं में बह जाने की जरूरत नहीं है, because nobody is bothered about what you think. उनको सिर्फ आपका writing style देखना है. Okay, then language control. What does that mean? Simple, precise sentences. यहाँ पे एक golden tip ले लो. Keep your sentences short. I have come across many students who try to cram in a lot of ideas in 2 to 3 sentences. उनका sentence एकदम long होगा. अब यही नहीं समझ आ रहा है वो कहना क्या चाह रहा है. सेंटेंस रुका कहाँ, टूटा कहाँ, सब्जेक्ट कौन है उस सेंटेंस में, मुद्दा क्या है, एवरीथिंग इज लॉस्ट. सो द गोल्डन टिप इज यूज वेरी शॉर्ट सेंटेंसेस. वेरी शॉर्ट बोले तो 2-2, 3-3 वर्ड्स नहीं, बट समथिंग लाइक दीज डेज इट इज नॉट हैपनिंग, और दीज डेज द सिचुएशन हैज बिकम वर्स. ऐसे इतने सिंपल जो कि समझ में आए पढ़ने वाले को. So simple, precise sentences, minimal grammatical errors. Yes, this is absolutely important. Nobody is going to test your grammar, I agree. But then, just like it happens in PI, if you're not able to express yourself or you're saying something and the evaluator is totally confused about what you're saying because your grammar is pathetic, that is when you will actually not be selected. ठीक है? So minimal grammatical errors, थोड़ा सा बोलना, थोड़ा सा like सेंसिबल तरीके से सिंपल सेंटेंसेस लिखने की प्रैक्टिस कर लो आप. रीडेबल हैंडराइटिंग इफ इट इज ऑन पेन एंड पेपर. मेरे जैसा बंदा अगर जाएगा लिखने के लिए तो सीधा हैंडराइटिंग के बेसिस पे ही रिजेक्टेड, आउट. ओके, व्हाट दे डोंट वांट. Flowery language, I mentioned this earlier. Over quoting philosophers or over quoting proverbs, okay? Over quoting idioms. Data dumping without explanation. Just regurgitating. इतना डेटा पढ़ा था मैंने, सब ठोकना है मुझे यहाँ पे, चाहे वो relevant हो या ना हो. You are not going to score points. Okay, next. Now, what am I going to do next? I'm going to show you some common WAT topics with examples. ठीक है, अभी देखो जैसे सबसे पहला वाला करंट अफेयर्स, सोशल इश्यूज. ऑलराइट, आकाश वर्मा, आई एम गोइंग टू कम टू द डाउट्स अ लिटिल लेटर. ठीक है, जस्ट लेट मी गेट डन विद दीज पॉइंट्स, सुनते चले जाओ. करंट अफेयर्स या सोशल इश्यूज, किस तरह का एग्जाम्पल दिया मैंने. इज इकोनॉमिक ग्रोथ पॉसिबल विदाउट एनवायरमेंटल डैमेज? ओके, नाउ द गिग इकोनॉमी, अपॉर्चुनिटी और एक्सप्लॉयटेशन. सो ये दोनों किस तरह के टॉपिक्स है? Economic growth, environmental damage, how will you bring both together on the same plane and kind of, analyze. So, जैसे मैंने नीचे वहाँ लिखा है, this requires balanced analysis plus various examples. I mean, look at the second topic, that gig economy, opportunity or exploitation. That's a hot topic these days. If you talk about gig economy and just talk about it in a roundabout fashion with no examples, I don't think it's going to be an attractive essay. So इस तरह के जो होते हैं ना टॉपिक्स जिसमें you have to decide this or that, तो you can give both the perspectives, you can give lots of examples, 3-4 तो दे ही देना, and then in the end you can conclude with a particular point of view. Okay, जैसे gig economy है, opportunity or exploitation, give both the sides. It is an opportunity if we look at this, or it is an exploitation of the public as well as the workers if we look at this. Okay, you can talk about Amazon, Uber, Ola, इस तरह का ये सारे आपने दे दिया. And then in the end you can say, however, all said and done, gig economy is something that helps people moonlight. It has provided sustenance to so many families. And if we suddenly take the gig economy out of the world, it's going to leave people in the lurch. So I think ऐसा करके आप दे सकते हो वहाँ पे conclusion. ठीक है? Next one, abstract topics. Abstract topics में example देखो, the cost of convenience. अभी किससे connect करोगे आप इसको? Cost of convenience. It can be anything. I will talk about Blinkit. Okay, Blinkit, Big Basket. This is convenience at my doorstep. This is convenience in the blink of an eye. But what is the cost that I'm paying? That is health. Then I can connect it with the health hazards that are happening these days, right? So you can connect it with anything. The cost of convenience. Maybe you can talk about it in the academic context. Okay. Now next one. Silence is not always golden. कितना abstract है ये? Silence. किसका silence? Maybe a country's. Somebody did not retaliate. Okay. This particular country did this. This did not retaliate. Is it going to be beneficial in the long run? कोई भी example दे सकते हो आप. ठीक है? Requires interpretation and illustration. Illustration बोले तो you have to come up with nice examples. Okay. Then the third one, opinion and ethical dilemmas. Should data privacy be sacrificed for national security? This is completely ethical. And this needs your opinion, because some people will say data privacy, national security, okay, data privacy is important, but then national security is of utmost importance. So people can be completely divided. You don't need to go berserk with your own opinion and write pages and pages. This is how I feel very strongly about it. No, keep it crisp. Requires a clear stand and justification. यहाँ आपसे पूछा है ना, should it be sacrificed for national security? So इसमें आप दोनों sides लेके छोड़ नहीं सकते हो. You can show both the perspectives, but in the end, try to take a stand and justify your stand. Then, next one, business and management. इसमें दो simple examples दिए मैंने. Is leadership innate or developed? Are leaders born or made? कितना common example है ये. Short-term profits versus long-term sustainability. GDP as a measure of economic growth or not. Okay, and this requires managerial thinking. You have to think about it from the perspective of somebody who's going to be at the helm of affairs in your future organization. So how would this affect your organization? How would this affect in turn your economy? Okay, and as a manager, what is something ethical that you can take up as a step, maybe at your personal level, then at the organizational level, and then maybe at the national level? ये कुछ एक दो suggestions end में दे दोगे, that will be the cherry on the cake. ठीक है? Okay. Now, the next part shows you the safest WAT structure. ये सब मैं एकदम बिल्कुल स्किम करके आपको थोड़ा थोड़ा सा बता दे रही हूँ. फिर ये डिटेल में तो चलो हम कोर्स करते ही रहेंगे. So introduction 30 to 40 words. Don't write one full page of introduction. It has to look like a proper introduction. और हाँ, यहाँ पे एक और golden point. Divide your paragraphs very clearly. दिखना चाहिए कि ये पैरा खत्म हुआ and then there's another paragraph. Okay, so introduction 30 to 40 words. Set context or interpret the topic. जैसा आपको करना है उसमें. What do I mean by set context or interpret? Set context जैसे मैंने शुरू में बताया था. If my ancestor woke up one fine day 50 years back, would he be worried about inhaling toxic air or drinking contaminated water? वो आप set context कर रहे हैं. Or interpret the topic. The topic for discussion is this. You can break it down. Okay, but don't break it down this way. What is global and what is warming? No, you can do it this way. So what is global warming? Global warming is something that is taking the world by storm, and it is a phenomenon that means something. Try to make it sound a little sensible. Okay, so you can interpret, or you can set the context, or you can even start with a proverb, as I said earlier, a quote. No grand claims, no definitions from textbooks. उतने लंबे चौड़े वो समझ में आ जाता है, ये खाली रट्टू तोता, he is regurgitating whatever he had studied. It may or may not be relevant. So there are nice ways of starting. ये हम बाद में डिटेल में डिस्कस करेंगे. अब एक एग्जांपल दिया है मैंने वहाँ. In an age of instant delivery and one-click solutions, Blinkit वाला आ गया. Convenience has become a defining feature of modern life. However, this ease often comes with hidden economic, social, and environmental costs. Then another paragraph can come in and you can talk about the health costs. देख रहे हो ये? ठीक है? So ये आपका एक introduction का हमने बात कर ली. Body paragraph 1, you can talk about the main argument, one strong idea with examples. Second, body paragraph 2, you can counterview or extend it. Okay? So ऐसा किसी ने rule नहीं बनाया कि आपने वो बोल दिया तो you cannot counter it. You can be analytical. Right? So counterview or extend, acknowledge the other side, show maturity of thought. I mentioned this earlier. Conclusion. So दो या तीन paragraphs भी दे सकते हो, but then it depends on the words. 200 words है तो दो ही paragraphs बीच के काफी है. Introduction 30-40 words, बीच के दो paragraphs, and then conclusion. Typically it should be 4 to 5 paragraphs. उससे ज्यादा लंबा करोगे तो फिर useless हो जाता है. So conclusion should be 20 to 30 words, just summing it up. Broader takeaway, forward-looking or balanced close. Maybe you can put in a recommendation. The golden rule here is, if somebody reads only your intro and conclusion and doesn't have the time for the entire essay, it should still be clear that this person has clarity of thoughts, and yes, this is a person who can actually write something. To pay the most attention to these two things. ठीक है? Now, time management strategy. क्या होती है आपकी time management strategy? By break कैसे करोगे? Don't start writing immediately. Doesn't make sense. 2 to 3 minutes, please understand. And I would always jot down my rough points. Whatever is there in my mind, ये लिखूंगी, ये ऐसे. 10 to 12 points हो गए. Then I would just kind of, shuffle them. Okay, पहले ये दोनों तीनों, then ये दोनों तीनों, and then I would start writing and keep ticking my rough sheet. ये हो गया, ये हो गया, ये हो गया. Okay, that helps. 10 to 18 minutes, just write something. एंड 2 to 3 minutes या 1 मिनट चलो एंड में रिवाइज कर लो. जस्ट मार्क द एरर्स, करेक्ट देम. कट फ्लफ का मतलब एक्स्ट्रा इधर उधर कहीं पे कुछ कचरा है निकालो उसको. फाइन. नाउ आई हैव गिवन यू 3 WAT प्रैक्टिस टॉपिक्स विथ मॉडल आउटलाइंस. ये ध्यान दे दो आप इस पे. ओनली 3. फाइन. First one is meritocracy is a myth in modern societies. So maybe you can just go through this quickly. Take a picture if you want. Approach क्या है? Opinion है, social analysis है. Meritocracy. CAT में हमने हजारों बार ये वाला टॉपिक पढ़ा है. And modern society से connect करना है. How meritocracy is actually becoming pervasive everywhere today. Is it harmful or is it good? So model outline मैंने आपको दिया है. Define the promise of meritocracy, why it is widely accepted. Because people get that feeling of objectivity. We are achievers. Everything is connected to objectivity. Argument, structural inequalities dilute the pure merit. Subjectivity थोड़ी होनी चाहिए, वो भी नहीं हो रही है. Counterpoint, competitive exams and institutional mechanisms, and then conclusion. Okay, ये हो गया. Next one, I said 3 topics. Has technology made us more informed or merely more opinionated? Okay, approach is what? Again, analytical, and it is connected with the modern era. So model outline क्या है आपका? Explosion of information. We all know that. Argument, algo, echo chambers, misinformation, encourage opinion over understanding. You can bring in AI, how AI is fed with like biased data. So we are actually perpetuating bias instead of getting rid of it. So I mean वो है ना garbage in garbage out वाला फंडा जो. Then argument हो गया. Counterpoint आपका क्या होगा? Access to diverse sources and citizen journalism, and they actually empower people. Conclusion दे दो उसके बाद. ठीक है. Economic growth and environmental sustainability are fundamentally incompatible. Economic growth will always have a cost. Social, economic, ecosystem का cost. You can talk about industries. You can talk about capitalism. You can bring in how industries are actually contributing a lot to the marine disasters. कुछ भी इसमें आप ऐसा डिस्कस कर सकते हो. Fundamentally incompatible बोला है. So policy, the main thing that is lacking in this area is or are good policies. People can actually talk a lot about it, but if the government puts policies in place, or maybe policies are there but they need to be actually followed. So the government has to be strict in that, because I remember there was an article that said talking of global warming, it's not plastic pollution. It's not that consumers are responsible. It's that producers are producing plastic, okay, by the ton. So they are responsible also. I mean, they are mainly responsible. There are no government good policies in place that can actually discourage producers in this area. ठीक है. So ये policy का आप उसको दिखा सकते हो इसमें, ethical दिखा सकते हो. Then model outline I have given for that. अच्छा, there's one very interesting thing in the end. I have taken the first topic, that is meritocracy, and I'm going to show you here 2 essays. ठीक है. चलिए इसके लिए मैं अपना टैब भी उठा लेती हूँ. I have just given you 2 essays here, and in one I will show why this is average, just to help you understand what works and what doesn't work. So ये meritocracy का है, और अगला वाला मैं दिखाऊंगी आपको why this is excellent. Okay, फिर हम finish कर लेंगे and I'll take up doubts. Meritocracy means that people succeed based on talent and hard work, okay, rather than background. Talent, hard work, right? In modern societies, this idea is widely promoted through this and job opportunities. Meritocracy often does not work as expected. Okay, but what are you giving to support it? Just, general sentences are there. Many people do not start, okay, those wealthy families, ye wo. At the same time, it would be incorrect to say meritocracy does not exist at all. बहुत ही vague general sentences. Why is this average? You can see here, I have put down these points. Safe, predictable points. No sharp insight. No examples, no data. Balanced but generic. Reads like many others. So what is it that sets your essay apart? Now I'll show you the good one. Meritocracy promises a simple moral bargain. Effort and ability will be rewarded. Yet, in modern societies, this promise is this. Then he comes and talks about quality education, social networks, economic security. Okay. In this sense, meritocracy often legitimizes inequality by presenting it. He talks about inequality. However, dismissing this completely would be misleading. We need it, but it should be balanced. Competitive examinations and this. The problem lies not in rewarding merit. We don't have any problem in rewarding merit, but what is happening? Merit emerges in a vacuum. You have to understand the context if you talk about meritocracy. क्योंकि I mean there is a background connected with that. Thus, meritocracy is neither a complete myth nor this. Now, why does this work? Clear, confident thesis, abstract thinking, okay, and then reasoning is there. Strong conclusion. Look at the conclusion of this one. This is great. There could have been some better examples, but this was just, to show you the difference between these two types. Okay, now that's all. That brings me to the end, and now we can take up some doubts if you have any. Okay, so this is all that you need to know about WAT in general terms. It's mainly about practice. Okay, so practice may you need to first read a little bit on whatever is happening around you. Something philosophical, social, scientific, technical, AI से related, economy से related, just read some things. जब कुछ read कर लोगे, then you will have a repository. So if you get a topic in WAT, you will be able to connect. इसमें ये वाला example डाल देता हूँ, इसमें ये डाल देता हूँ. Got it? So the more you practice, the better you're going to be at it. Thank you so much, guys. Now you can ask me if you have any doubt. Can you please provide 20? 20 क्या? "20 essays का compilation." For that you need to join the course, Anuj. Okay. Chalo guys, everybody, I look forward to seeing you again. Get started with your prep. I know you guys are anxious about your CAT result. Probably tomorrow or day after tomorrow we are going to get it. Fingers crossed. But then after that you have to really double up for